We want to ask a lot of questions from our analytics tools, and oftentimes we fail to get those answers from our tools. For example, did our release go live without any errors? Did we face any issues with our users? Are they able to capture any errors that are occurring in the front end? There are many of these questions which are not answered by an analytics tool. This is where Hotjar comes in. So today we're gonna take a deep dive into Hotjar, how we can observe, ask, and engage a couple of features that are included in Hotjar, and we would try to go beyond Google Analytics in this session. So without further ado, I'm gonna walk you through first of all with how to install the property and how to get it active, up and running. So to sign up for a new account, this is not a sponsored session by Hotjar, by the way. I'm gonna drop in my referral link that you can use or not use, up to you. But if you want to install a new property, you can go to hotjar.com, sign up for a new account, and then you can go to organization settings, and here you would find your your sites which you can capture your tracking code for. For example, you have a tracking code which is a JavaScript code. You can copy and you can get it installed. They have pre-built plugins for a couple of tools. For example, you can check at WordPress. They have Hotjar plugin which you can easily install, and all you have to do is go to plugins, install a new plugin, and here you can search for Hotjar, and this would show up. It's already active, and if you would go to the tool and settings for Hotjar, you would find the properties already installed, and I've just to set up the Hotjar ID, which is also available here in the tracking code. If you notice, this is the ID we are going to capture for. So this is something you need to install, and once you are done with the installation, you need to go to verify, and then it would install and verify if the events are being received and if the data is being received from the sessions. So this is how you can easily get up and running with Hotjar, just similar to how you would set up Google Analytics or any tag management tool. But once you are done with installing, then you can do a lot of things. You can invite your team, you can give different attributes, and you can explore integrations that Hotjar has. So it has an integration with Google Analytics as well. So any additional questions that you may be exploring which are not answered there in Google Analytics, you can set them here. And I love two integrations which are available. One is the Microsoft Teams, and the other one is the webhooks. So with Microsoft Teams, whenever somebody new visits your application or your website, you can immediately trigger a message to your channel, and also you can use webhooks to store those records into a database or for further analysis. So this is how to get up and running, and now we would dive into what this tool does. So out of the box, this has a site overview dashboard, but I can build my own new dashboard as well. I can go for example, page issues, and I can specify my URL, and it would create a nice dashboard where it would show, okay, how many console errors were showing, how many rage clicks people were taking. So anything that is causing frustration to the end user, you can explore them here, because this captures all the steps during your website usage. So coming back to the site overview, you can see some of the top clicks that happened. I have recently set this up, so that's why there is not a lot of data in here. This is just for demonstration purposes. But you can see our top page has been our root domain, and I can simply click on the play button here to watch all the recordings, and this is where you will see the magic happening. So you can see this user came in from country United States, and it came in from a phone. It was using a Safari device, and it came from a Google reference. And we can quickly walk in what that person did in their 35-second session by clicking on recording, and you would see that they are loading the page, they are going through different menu items, they're scrolling down, they're exploring what we do, and they go to the end of the page. So this all recording is available, and you can see also in the actions tab that this is capturing different events that happened in the DOM. So for example, the person opened a new tab, then they clicked on a certain element, and then they refreshed the page, then they resize the window. So all these actions are captured and stored with every user recording, and these are very useful if you have, for example, you want to understand how many clicks a person did, how far they went through, and this gives you a lot of insights that are missing from Google Analytics, for example. You cannot go deeper beyond page event or page views that you have to manually set up, but over here you can actually see what a user is doing. If you might notice, there are a lot of things that are masked here. So this is GDPR compliant, which is another thing that encourages me to use it. So users' private information would always be masked even in the recordings. So for example, if there is any phone number or a number that is shown on the screen, it's not going to be captured, and the user information would remain private. So these are recordings. You can walk through all of these recordings one by one. And another thing that I commonly use is I can add these to certain collections. I can add comments for team. For example, I can create a new collection of UX error, and then I can say page load issue, for example, and then this recording is quickly saved. I can even tag a certain element within a recording. So for example, I can say, okay, this is a UX issue, this is a success thing that happened here. So I can quickly tag even a recording as well, what is happening there, and based on this I can quickly make my team collaborate. Okay, how a person went from errors to a success during a journey, and this would give them a lot of insights to create some amazing experiences out of the applications. Coming next, we would try to explore some of the other topics. For example, within dashboards, what kind of widgets are available. So if you come and you start from scratch, you can see there are different widgets that you can design from scratch. For example, these are templates. These are pre-built, but you can give it your own logic as well. But these are pretty much the views that they have restricted it to. For example, you want to view pages, you want to get a page overview, how much time or certain things or actions were done on a certain page, what were your top click buttons, and then definitely rage clicks if there is anything that is happening. Luckily nothing rage related on this website, thank God. And there are no console errors as well. If there would be any data available, that would also show up here. And then some interesting insights like how many were coming in from a certain channel and how many were new or returning users, and then definitely the technology that the person are using, and then obviously about the countries as well. So these are all pre-built reporting widgets that you are available with, but you can also build trend lines and session data regarding, for example, how many came from Google, for example, and you would find out in a bit how many were total sessions and how many came in from Google. And this chart you can filter down, for example, for 24 hours. So only one session came in from the red, and the other ones are all sessions, and I can apply any filter based on any other thing. So for example, I want to apply another filter of device, how many were mobile users, and then I will also be able to see. So once you have more recordings, you would be able to build any kind of trend data, and this trend line can be shown as a pie chart or a bar chart or a line graph, where you can summarize as well and see this information. So apart from this, you also have funnels, which is a very nice way to consider if somebody was able to move through the funnel, and were they able to do certain things. For example, we want to check how many visited the home page, but how many went to the pricing page. So out of the 100 that visited, 27 would have gone to the pricing page. Again, the data is limited, but once you have built the whole journey, you would be able to see how many were moving around different paths and steps of the journey. Over here, you can also build heat maps. So for example, I want to say, build me a heat map for desktop view where people are clicking or using, and based on this I can consider, okay, this call to action was the most famous one which people clicked, and this second one was the one in the depth of the page that people clicked through. And then in the moment of truth, you can also ask certain feedback. So you can ask a quick question: how do you feel about your experience? So also you can not only judge through the recordings, but you can also capture actual feedback, which would show up like this, and the user would just open it up and click it and tell about their experience to you, and you would see them in the dashboard. Lastly, the surveys. I think this is another one. So you can run the NPS right on the journey. You can also detect exit intent, and based on the exit intent, you can ask different questions and try to capture more information. What was it that people were not liking about and abandoning the page? So there are a couple of behaviors you can capture. For example, if a user is about to abandon the page on a desktop device, or if there is a delay, for example, up to 90 seconds, they are not able to make a decision whether they're going to buy or purchase or not, you can trigger this. But if there is a failure page, for example, where you detect, okay, the user is not, or the session is logged out, maybe you can ask this question at that certain time. So surveys would also give you a lot of insights from out of the the user recordings and sessions that they are happening with you. And lastly, there is another interesting feature which I haven't tested so far, but this is more about conducting interviews remotely. And over here you can start a project, you can source candidates, and then run a live interactive video kind of interview with them. And yeah, so these are pretty much the out of the box features. But for example, you have certain events that you want to capture, so you can define them as well. You can define an event. If an event is click on success, for example, you can filter those events, and based on that you would be able to see certain recordings that are only applicable to those events. But here is where this integration with Google comes in very handy. So you can go to integrations, integrate with Google Analytics, and you can fetch in all the sessions that correlate to a certain event. So the events are pre-configured, so you don't have to do that effort again in Hotjar, even though you can define those custom events here. But this is where you can apply filtering and recordings based on funnel stage, or based on a certain events that that person has done on your journey. All of these would give you insights and questions to your answers, like we started exploring with, which you would be able to explore. And if you have any further questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. Thank you.